The film starts with a father and daughter duo playing catch and throw with a ball. The father suspects that her daughter is upset over something and inquires about the complete ordeal. Her father learns that she saw something terrible the other day, and it hasn't gone over since. Before she could extend the discussion to the terrible thing that she encountered, the daughter shifted the conversation. She reaches out for her soft toy, and the duo decides to call it a day. Later at night, when the duo packed up their things, the father goes for a second to get the needed things, while the daughter stays near the car and closes the trunk. This is when she starts to face strange things one by one. At first, the streetlights flicker on and off, giving off a strange vibe. Later, she decides to follow her father and learns that he is lying down on the floor in a good-for-nothing condition. This prompts her to help her father, but before that, a strange creature hops in. The father warns her daughter to run for her life, but it is already late. She gets caught by this wicked creature called the Bagman. The Bagman takes her inside the bag and zips it up. The scene ends on this horrified end. This gives us the first look at the hauntings of the devilish creature, the one that locks people inside bags and preys on their fears. The scene shifts to Pat and his family. This includes his son Jackie and his wife Karina. The scene highlights his bonding with the family and his son's newfound obsession with a wooden flute. Pat is visibly exhausted as he works late at night. Moreover, he thinks that someone walks around their lawn at night. He also has to prepare for a brunch-like situation, as many guests are scheduled to arrive later on. It is revealed that Pat and Karina have recently moved in with their mom, as they are not doing well financially. We also get to see Pat's brother Liam, who has taken over the family business and takes care of a lumber-related company. It is also revealed that Pat has come up with a machine that could cut wood faster and optimally for the company. The only problem is that Pat doesn't get any funding for it, and even Liam seems uninterested, as he wants him to settle his finances in order first. The scene shifts to nighttime. Pat comes out of the house to throw garbage and finds that the lights are flickering and indicating something strange. Pat then finds a strange person in the dark and decides to follow him. He learns that it was nothing but a big rat that eventually scared him. He gets back into the house and calls it a day. The scene shifts to the lumber company. Pat is working with his brother Liam and confides in his fear of losing Jackie, as they are nearly broke. Liam decides to console him and states that at least he is trying to do what he wants, and that things will be fine. However, Pat still feels down and doesn't get the motivation that he needs. Eventually, Liam jokes about their childhood incident and tries to label it as the reason for where they are in their respective lives. This translates further into a flashback scene where we find the two brothers near their lumber factory. The duo make their way towards a mine where they were prohibited to venture. The courageous lads go inside the mine, but eventually, Liam resists. This is when Pat spots a tree branch and decides to take it down. In a hurry, he eventually ends up getting stuck behind the branch. Before the brothers can be helped, a strange person sneaks up from behind and cuts his hair. The kid falls down in surprise and the strange man disappears. The flashback ends and the scene shifts to the present. Karina is trying to work on her laptop when she continuously hears Jackie playing with the flute. Eventually, she shouts at him, and the young lad sits in peace. This is when Jackie sees someone from the bushes. A strange doll waved at him and called him by his side. As expected, Jackie goes after the man and continues to play his flute. Soon, Karina figures out that Jackie is nowhere to be seen, and she starts to search for him everywhere. Eventually, she does find him, sitting calmly under a tree, and picks him up. This is when she also hears a typical noise from the tree. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the night when Pat returns and puts Jackie to sleep. He and Karina have a little chit-chat at the dinner and discuss things. Karina also tells him about the incident earlier today, and we get to see the baby monitor lights flicker, indicating something strange. Pat's frustration increases further when he gets to know about the bank's decision to stop his extension. This leaves him throwing things here and there because he has no idea what to do next. This is when Pat decides to delete the software that he is working on. He ends up breaking his wooden knife and keeping it back in the drawer. This is when he also notices something strange happening with Jackie. The little one starts to talk with someone as visible from the monitor. This leaves Pat in a state of confusion. He gets inside the room, finds no one, and starts to close the window. All of a sudden, someone throws a stone at the window and leaves Pat surprised. Eventually, Pat shuts down the window and leaves the room. Things start to get weird when the light suddenly goes off. This is also when Pat hears a weird sound down the stairs. Moreover, this is the same kind of voice that he has been hearing since his childhood. Pat takes a bat in his hand to counter any threat, and Karina also wakes up soon. Both of them then get back to the room as they hear somebody opening and closing it. This is when things start to get even more sketchy. Right after this, Pat calls upon the sheriff to report the incident and tell him everything about the incident. The cops inquire whether something is missing from the house or not. The couple answers that nothing is missing as such, which makes it a little more weird. The cops further find out that somebody is throwing toys at their windows, the same toys that Pat used to play with as a child. This is the first indication of something strange. The same night, Pat decides to throw the garbage bin outside and discovers an owl-shaped toy that he made during his childhood. These sudden hints of his past versions make the scene even more weird. He even inquires from Karina if she has seen this toy before, but she states that this is the first time she has seen something like this. Pat's revelation about the owl toy adds further to the mystery. He states that this is the same toy that he lost when he was first stuck in the mine. Karina then shifts the conversation and asks him to hide the wooden flute that Jackie plays with, as it is something that annoys them constantly. As a result, Pat hides the flute in storage, and the scene shifts to a different time during the day. Little Jackie takes a bath while requesting his flute back. Pat agrees and goes to look for it. When he doesn't find the flute and calls for Jackie, he doesn't respond. This makes him worried, as he has no idea about what's happening. Moreover, a strange creature resembling the bagman knocks on the bathroom's window. Before Karina or Pat can confront it, the bagman disappears from the window and leaves no trace of his presence behind. They reach in time and find Jackie playing normally. These strange sets of incidents leave Pat and Karina terrified, and they bring Jackie to their room to look after him personally. Surprisingly, the events continue to happen. At first, the house alarm goes off, and Pat goes out to see what happened. This is followed by him taking a lookout and resetting the alarm. Moreover, he goes back to the storage and finds a strange-looking doll. What makes it even weirder is its resemblance to his childhood version, the same version that went to the mine and wearing the same cap that he was wearing that day. When Pat tries to go out, he finds that it is locked. Moreover, he tries to open it again, but it remains locked. This is when he looks at the roof and finds someone playing the flute. He breaks the window to get inside the house and warns Karina. Moreover, he reveals to stay alert, as she is already afraid. The couple makes it through the night and calls the cops in the morning. Pat informs the cop that something weird is happening as their lights keep going on and off. The cop states that there is no case of a power outage and everything is fine. After this, Pat explains that the only thing missing from their house this time is the wooden flute, the same one that Jackie plays with. Right after this, Pat visits Liam at the lumber factory and explains to him about the wooden toy that was thrown at the window. He also informs him that this was the same toy that he left at the mine during the childhood incident. Liam becomes worried about Pat and advises him to see a special person. He is aware of his childhood fears and suggests that he might be going through an episode. Meanwhile, things get even more weird when little Jackie brings a drawing handed to him by a stranger. The drawing has the same childlike version of Pat on my day. Moreover, it also had a drawing of him and his mother. This is when Karina decodes the message and gets near to Jackie. She notices that he is stuck inside a wooden playground, and the bagman appears. The bagman immediately puts him in the bag and passes a wicked smile. This is when Pat wakes up and realizes that it was all a dream. This is also when we see another flashback about the story behind the bagman. The flashback indicates that the bagman was a tale that Pat's father used to tell him about while preventing him from going near the mines. The story stuck with him as a childhood fear and stayed with him. The next day, Pat and Karina visit their childhood therapist, Barbara. She informs Karina about Pat's childhood dreams and drawings, indicating a pattern of obsession with the tale of Bagman, a folklore about a creature with a bag that feeds on the fear of children. The couple decides to take a break from things and head out. They leave Jackie with Anna and have dinner. Moreover, when they are in their room, Pat asks Karina if she believes that he is not normal. She assures him that this is not the case. Right after this, Pat reveals that when the bagman cut his hair at the mine, he has been able to find him since then. One night, his mother convinced his father to remove the fear from Pat's mind. However, his father instead doubled down on the fear and theory of Bagman. He also stated that in order to get rid of Bagman, he needs to take care of a toy or belonging. So much so that he needs to make sure that it is never lost or thrown away. In this case, it meant his knife, which he had from his childhood, and kept in his drawer. This is why Pat is afraid that since he lost the flute, the bagman might come and harm Jackie. Meanwhile, Anna is revealed to be on a phone when she starts to hear some weird sound on the monitor. She instantly checks and finds that there is no one inside the room. Moreover, she also asks the building guard about any strange activity, but the guard assures her that nothing happened. As Anna gets off the call, the lights of the building start to go on and off. After the lights are completely out, Anna notices that someone is trying to enter the room. She sees the bagman and gets terrified. Moreover, she also tries to use the call to inform the guard, but it is of no use since the lights are gone. She goes into the kitchen and finds a knife for herself and gets into hiding. Moreover, she is prepared for any type of attack that could come from the bagman. The hidden bagman finds Anna and puts her hand on her to make her unconscious. Eventually, the scene shifts to the bagman going towards Jackie. The whole scene jumps to Pat and Karina arriving at the scene and finding an injured Anna. This leaves the couple in a state of worry, as they are not sure what to do next. The cop informs them about a similar abduction that happened in the past, which refers to the first victim of the bagman as shown at the start of the film. However, Jackie remains safe. Pat and Karina arrive at Liam's house to spend the night safely. Moreover, even the cops assure them about their safety and inform them they are on the lookout for the bagman. It doesn't take long for the bagman to arrive and take away Jackie. He leaves the cop in a similar state as Anna and runs away. Pat tries to chase the bagman and runs after him. The bagman runs back to its cave, and Pat returns to the site of his childhood horrors. Moreover, he also finds a lot of candles with bags over them. He learns that each bag has a toy, indicating that it represents the victims of the bagman. When Pat finds the bag that he took away Jackie with, he discovers a doll with a recorded message. The message repeats for Pat to come and rescue Jackie. Pat gets infuriated and throws away everything. Moreover, it doesn't take long for the bagman to return and place his hand on Pat. This ends in Pat becoming paralyzed. Pat remembers what his father used to say to him at times like these. He remembered that bagman preys on the fears of children and that he will be gone once he has the childhood toy kept safe with him. This is when he realizes that ever since he threw away his carving knife, the bagman hunted him. Moreover, Karina learns that Jackie is safe in his room and that Pat runs in confusion. The bagman didn't come for Jackie but for Pat himself. Pat makes use of the knife to attack the bagman. He then makes a run for it but fails to beat the Batman. This time around, he throws the flute outside the cave so as to save Jackie. As expected, the bagman takes Pat inside the bag and closes it. Right after this, the cops arrive the next day and find the flute. However, Pat is nowhere to be seen. In the final couple of scenes, we find Karina leaving her mom's house and getting away for good. She leaves the place thinking that the bagman could return there. Moreover, she gives Jackie his flute back. The film ends here. I hope you liked this movie recap. Please comment on what you liked about this movie and what scene you liked. And don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.